Hey everybody, this is India with Bags and Lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching this video. A special thank you to Liz from Nothing But Bags for requesting this topic. I did a lot of research, had a lot of fun if you didn't see my community post, and I am nervous to record this video because I'm hoping this meets your standards, Liz. But let's go ahead and get into it. And we are talking about the Met Gala. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the history about the Met Gala. I just want to talk more about the theme for this year, which is very exciting, very interesting. And actually, for the record, even though I am very much into fashion, I don't usually pay attention to the Met Gala. I will see a couple of looks when I will check out a couple of looks after the gala has happened, just so I don't want to just sit there and watch everybody come through first off, and then it's easier to kind of see still photos of people versus the lives, because sometimes you're not catching everything. And I will catch up on Cassie Thorpe's, but I have never covered the Met Gala before, and I'm very excited to do it today. All right, first off, first, just to make sure we all start off on the same page. If you're not sure what the Met Gala is, it is pretty much a fundraiser. And if I look over here to the side, that's because I got notes over here, because there's a lot to discuss. So the Met Gala is, like I said, a fundraiser for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. And this gala brings in a lot of money, and it's very expensive, and there's a highly coveted invite list. Just because you were on the list last year to get into the Met Gala does not mean you're on it this year. But there are a lot of people who you see year after year after year. And one of those would be like Rihanna, for example. You see her all the time at the Met Gala. Zendaya is another one that you see a lot of as well over the past, like within the past 10 years, seeing Zendaya at the Met Gala frequently as well. Two examples for you. Okay, let's move on to the theme for this year. And this year's theme was selected primarily by Andrew Bolton. He is the chief curator of the Costume Institute at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And the theme is super fine, tailoring Black style. Now, in my research, I also, which you'll see, hit that description box, hit that ... I will have a lot of video links down there for YouTube videos too that I watched, as well as links to articles and things like that that I read about it. But one of those had mentioned it being called something slightly different. But when I went to the Vogue website, which is who is the host, they put this Met Gala on because of Anna Wintour. This is what I'm taking as the official. The other one was more like had the same wording, but it just said what was it? Tailored for you. That might also be kind of like a sub topic, but I did not see that on at least the Met Gala's website. So I just wanted to use what they said based on my research. And there was so much to go through that I'm sure if you're very much into this, not touch on something that maybe you want to throw in the comments down below, feel free to do that. You can go down a very deep rabbit hole looking up information and history on this topic. Now, the show was inspired by a book that was written by Monica L. Miller, and the book it was published in 2009. This is actually the second time that Vogue has actually focused on menswear as a theme. The first one was men in skirts, and that was in 2003. So if you all remember seeing a lot of media and across the spectrum with men in sports, famous men, actors, people in the entertainment industry, athletes that are well known for their fashion statements. A lot around that time, you saw a lot of men in skirts. So hence the name, that kind of started a trend. And which is a little bit different from dandyism, but we'll get into that in a second. And something else that I thought was mentioned, because you can find a lot on like the co-chairs and things like that, but I wanted to pull out some details that may be overlooked. And that is that the show is designed by Torquazi. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing, but you're saying on the screen, Dyson. And it features an artist, and her name is Tanda Francis. All of that, I had not seen their names mentioned before, so I definitely wanted to pull them out and call them out and highlight them in my video. Also, a press release that was released about the dandyism, I do want to read that out to you because this is what was the statement that was made related to the theme. And that is, dandyism can seem frivolous, but it often poses a challenge to or a transcendence of social and cultural hierarchies, is what Miller said in a press release when they announced the theme. It asks questions about identity, representation, and mobility in relation to race, class, gender, sexuality, and power. The exhibition explores this concept as both a pronouncement and a provocation. Sums it all up for you for this. Now, let's talk a little bit about a dandy. I would say that I don't think I've heard the term frequently. However, when they mentioned it, I could visualize what that meant, and I don't know how I knew that, but I definitely knew that. But if you were to ask me on the street, I don't know if I would be able to come up with it, but I definitely know that when I was listening to a video and they said, "Well, what is a dandy?" I thought, and when they described it, I thought, okay, these are people who I would think of as dandies. And so a dandy is a man who, this is just like the textbook term, a dandy is a man who places particular importance upon physical appearance, personal grooming, refined language, and leisurely hobbies. Dandies dress elegantly and fashionably, often exaggerating their manners and promoting themselves. The term can also refer to someone who is excessively concerned about their clothes and appearance. And it's more about the discipline. So not somebody who, like they Miller had put in the press release, it can seem on the surface level as very frivolous, like someone who cares about their fashion. And I'm too smart for that, or whatever the case may be. I'm too busy for that. But at the same time, dandyism is, from what I understand, a way of life through my research. And it's somebody who is very regimented and strict. And also, it's not just when they walk out the door, it's this whole sense of being from inside to outside, pretty much. The first person who is actually known as, he is known as being the father of dandyism, and he is Beau Brummel. He is, well, as credited as being the original male influencer. So this is long before social media came around. The internet wasn't even around. This is in the 1800s. And the reason for this is, from what I understand, is he started gaining attention, or gaining attention with the way that he would dress, is because it was the range of like the 1811s to the 1820s. He wanted to reject loud prints. That was the fashion statement of that time, and instead he decided to go for fine linen shirts, tailored clothing. And I thought that was very interesting. Because there was so much to look up, I did not look too much into Beau Brummel because I had so much to cover with this topic, and wanted to try to hit a lot of points. But definitely, if something piques your interest, please go ahead and do some more research on it. I hope this sparks a lot of interest and, ways for you to think about fashion in a different type of way, other than what's in, what's out, but more about you tailoring and messaging what message you're sending with your personal style. Because unfortunately, when you meet people, and people see you out and about, appearance matters. And I really like this topic for that reason, because it definitely seems like, I will say, a lot there, it doesn't seem as common for some people to really care about the way that they appear. And that can be a range of different things: male, female, old, young. It's across the board. And this Met Gala theme definitely hits on personal style, being very things that are very personal to you. You can take a shirt and a pair of pants, or a dress and a pair of shoes, and wear it. Two people can wear those in different ways. So making something your own is very important, but also caring about your appearance is important as well. And I'll leave it at that. Current examples of a dandy would be someone like Andre 3000 in the music industry, Andre Leon Talley, rest in peace, and then also Dapper Dan. Those are people that I can think of. I can think of somebody like Duke Ellington and so many other people. But like I said, it's not just the fashion piece, but the entire package, a way of life, being strict about certain things and how you operate in life, and all of those go into this piece of dandyism. So it's not just the fashion statement that is a part of this message. And a lot of because Bro Brummel, like I said, I gave that example of him kind of rejecting the fashion norms of that time in the 1800s and wanting to have a different way where he was wearing fine linens and things like that. Just know that at the core, a dandy is a person who, it's a way of life, pretty much, and it is a way to show a form of rebellion of societal norms. Now, dandy also has a English and West African roots, which I thought was very interesting. And it's definitely on time as far as like when they say West African, because I am now discovering, I would say over the past like 8 months, 10 months, I've been discovering a lot of brands from people that are based in either Nigeria or Kenya. There's a store, actually, unfortunately the store is going to close in Atlantic Station, but they will remain online, and they have a lot of clothing, that fashion items that are coming from Africa. So I have a couple of pieces that were based in Kenya. We think about Andrea Iyama, like just that African roots thing, West African roots, all of the different things, like just spreading out outside of our normal thinking of people who can make fashionable clothing, good quality clothing. Usually you think about European designers, Italian designers, American designers, but you have so many other people out there, like I said, that come from either the islands or the continent of Africa that have these beautiful, innovative clothing. And I am definitely enjoying branching out and not just going after the things that I know, but finding out about new brands, new designers that are out there. Now they come at a pretty penny. And take that in mind, but definitely there's so many, and I do want to try to kind of share them, and I have been sharing them along the way. Okay. Next up, I just wanted to give a little fun fact here is that, like other examples of dandies are in history, are parshuas. I'm probably saying this incorrectly, but basically this came along with the parshuos. I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish. But these are males who were members of the counterculture where they would wear zoot suits, if you all remember those. And the female version of that, they were Mexican American women which wore zoot suits. So when you think about women back then, where it was very unlikely that you would see a woman in a suit, you would definitely see them in a shirt and dress, or just a shirt and skirt or a dress. You had these women that were bumping against the societal norms, and they decided to wear suits. So this is something that, definitely for all reasons that you can kind of think of and figure out and do your research on, making a statement through their attire. And one of the other examples that I did want to mention here too is that there was a podcast I was listening to, and actually currently listen to, which is called Stuff You Miss in History Class. And I don't remember the exact episode. It was from a couple of years ago. I definitely will say that. So I don't know if I can find it, but they were talking to a person who was, I think, a costume designer, and she was a fashion historian. And she was talking about how fashion has been used to make statements, and how fashion has changed over time due to kind of current situations that were happening at that time. And I remember she gave an example of, I don't remember which war it was, but there was a war going on. And in that country, they had to use all these raw materials to go towards production to help support making, I don't know if I can say that on it. Maybe to support what was going on. Let me edit out that word. But and so the interesting thing was that I think rubber was being needed to be used to help make tires for tankers. And that is where the birth of cork came from for wedges. Like you think about now, a summer staple is a cork wedge, an espadrille, and how that came about is from years ago out of necessity. Fashion designers wanted to make statements with their clothing. They could not use rubber to put on the bottom of shoes, and they went with cork instead. And now here today, we have cork that comes out year and year, year after year, to symbolize here's your spring fashion item for your shoes and your summer fashion items for your shoes. And that was very interesting. If I can remember, I will hopefully find it so I can link it down below if you're into this. This just makes me so excited. And I'm trying to, like I said, get everything in, but not talk forever. And what I did also want to mention here too is, like I said, as far as the personal, actually, I'll get into the personal style thing in a second when I talk about some examples. Let's move on. Okay. So who will stand out at the Met Gala? Someone who, because of the way that the theme is, it's this. I would say, yeah, in general, this is the message here, but also really, really with this theme, especially with our women, I definitely want to see how they're going to do this. Because when you think about, I said like a dandy, for example, you think about a male, you think about menswear. Whereas there are so many ways this can be done for women, and they don't have to wear a suit. Just saying. But someone who's really going to stand out and I think make waves with this is going to be someone who is able to take the theme and absolutely make it their own. If you don't get anything else from what I have given you as examples of a dandy, it is going to be somebody who is very comfortable in their own skin, somebody who is very comfortable with their body and knows their personal style. Whether something is fashion forward right now or not, if it does not fit the personal style of that person, you won't see it on them. And that's one of those things that we're going to see be a big hit and make the biggest difference is if it is your personal style. And personal style is something that is not something that you develop over time. I'm sorry, it is not something that is developed overnight. It is developed over time, and you can definitely tell what people that are familiar with someone and their style. You can definitely tell whether someone that fits that person's personal style or not. And what I did do in my research is, which this will be one of the articles linked down below, and also like what I wanted to mention here too, segue into this is some of my favorite YouTubers have been talking about personal style for a very long time. Carolyn Gray, Janae Naylor, Politics and Fashion. If you all are not following these people, make sure you check them out. I will add them so you can easily find their channel. And then our wonderful fashion professor is what I'm going to nickname her, and that is simply Cora. She week after week always talks about here's what's I don't even want to say here's what's trending, but like here's what I noticed. This is what happens to be trending is what I'm going to say about it, because I don't think she necessarily tries to push trends. She more so pushes this is kind of what's popular right now, and this is how you can use this to inspire you to take your personal style or take an inspiration from something and do something else with it. So those are just some of the people that I personally enjoy and watching and have been talking about personal style. And this is so on topic for the Met Gala for this reason. Because it's not the tailoring as far as like, it's not the tailoring as in like how it fits in your body, but it's also, is this what you would normally wear? How can I fit your personal elements and personality and taste into this piece? Rihanna just is she always knocks it out the park, and definitely it's hard to talk about fashion and not talk about Rihanna. So I think Rihanna is going to be a great person of great interest to watch, and we'll see what she does. This is one of Harper Bazaar's, according to them, one of her top looks that they said as far as like the top, I don't know if it's just the history, but basically we're going to say top looks of the Met Gala, which when I see this, I'm thinking, of course, like this looks like Rihanna. And Rihanna kind of shift changes, so you never can predict. Like she can do sneakers and a shirt, then the next time she can do a ball gown. I think she does a great job of being very versatile, but it's her when you see it. Another example, according to Harper's Bazaar, is Sarah Jessica Parker. And as I've seen Sarah Jessica Parker over time, and then also watch And Just Like That, as well as Sex in the City, I I feel like she, and I don't know this for sure, but it just definitely seems like she, whatever her personal style was, she allowed that to show through Carrie. Let me know if you think differently, but I definitely feel like her personal style was very influenced in it. Maybe not early on, but as we go on, as I see her, I'm thinking that looked like something Carrie would wear. And I think this is a piece that I'm like, yes, this is very Sarah Jessica Parker for sure. Someone that I don't think gets enough attention, because I know a lot of times some people like to compare her to her sister, but she is in her own right, doing her own thing and wonderful things, even if it doesn't make big headlines. But you, Solange gets credit for personal style. Absolutely. This is a cool piece that Solange has worn, and Harper's Bazaar said it was a top style, especially a top look for the Met Gala in recent years. And I definitely want to highlight Solange, because when you see her, she does not seem like a person who goes with social norms, what is trending right now. She goes for this, I love, it feels comfortable on me, and this is what I want to portray to the world, which is I don't care what you think. This is what I want to look like. I would definitely say a good example of taking the theme and also making it your own would be the Olsen twins. This is Ashley Olsen, and every time when I think about Ashley Olsen and the Olsen twins separately or together, you think about oversized, you think about comfort, you think about kind of this, I don't want to call it lazy elegance, but hopefully that helps describe like this she looks very comfortable. She looks very much like very chic, very Ashley Olsen, and only Olsen twins can pull something like this amazing off, and it just looks just just amazing. And so I think about them when I think about kind of personal style and how you can have it tailored to a certain event and stay on theme, but keep it your own as well. And then Tracy Ellis Ross. I love her style, and I think this is a cool piece. Now, this was not featured on Harper's Bazaar, but this was, I don't remember what year this was, but I think it was about art. And I think it's just kind of quirky and cool, which is what Sarah, not Sarah Jessica, goodness. I think it's quirky and cool, which is very much what Tracy Ellis Ross is. Thank you again so much to Liz for suggesting this topic. I hope this video was very helpful and informational as well as entertaining. And if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. If you have not liked this video, please go ahead and do it at this point. If you're at this point, like the video, please, and then share this with your friends. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.